Welcome to another Anime Kingdom review. See by the title below, yes, this is on episode 18, 19, and 20, which means yes, this is actually going to be a 3-episode review. So, pretty much I've just been super busy lately, guys. If you haven't been, checking out my Facebook and Twitter, it's just I have a whole bunch of things, especially with school now back in session. It's just there's a lot of things that is making it really hard for me to be able to, make these videos. But I am finally over here just sitting down, watching everything that I have missed, and I plan on trying at least to get everything, caught up by the end of this week. So hopefully, guys, next week will be all good for that. So just wanted to explain the situation if you were wondering why the hell this was a triple episode review. I've done double episode reviews, but I've never done a triple ones before. And actually, if you looked at my last video, which was on gamers, I did a double episode review, even though there were 3 episodes I missed, but I thought that 2 episodes were too much. A double episode review was already too much, but I decided in this one, hey, it's not really too much. The video, sure, is going to be long, but it's pretty much just, separate videos, just all in one. If you want, like I always say, I do understand if you guys don't really care to hear my review on the, previous week reviews. You want to see the most current one and everything, which is understandable, and which is why I thought it would be okay to make a triple episode review. So instead, if you do want to skip, you don't care about what I thought about episode 18 or 19, if you want to skip straight to 20, in the description below there's actually links that you can go straight to the episode 19 portion, and of course go straight to the episode 20 portion. So if you guys want to go ahead and do that, feel free to go do that now. If you want to stay along for the ride and hear my thoughts on all 3 episodes, then of course you can, you're welcome to stay. That's awesome, honestly. But yeah, let's get on to how I felt about episode 18. This is of course the aftermath of the huge battle that, all of them had against Stain, and we're finally getting to see what is going on, what's happening to everyone after all the crazy shit that has happened in these previous episodes. First off, obviously, we get to see that, our heroes and everything, Izuku, Ida, and Todoroki are in the hospital. They are obviously hurt because of that battle, each of them having their own injuries. And it turns out that Ida probably has the worst out of all of them. Considering the fact that, I was wondering if he was going to be okay, considering the fact that he took like a blade straight to his, his arm during that one scene. And I was like, holy shit, that's going to cause some damage. And it looks like it did cause some pretty bad damage, though it is a possibility that they can fix it, but he's using it as kind of a way to, see yourself and everything, and know that he had this moment where he fell, and it's kind of a reminder of what happened and what he's striving to be and everything. So if there's ever some way along the way that he starts to doubt himself again, he can look at his arm and remember what he actually wants to be as a hero. And the same thing goes for Izuku as well, as he took out his hand and was like, this was the hand that he's going to use to, of course, strive to be better and everything like that. So it's cool to see our heroes gain scars and, not them just healing them up like they probably could, but using them as an example and a way to, if there is ever a moment, which we probably will see in the future, I'm not too sure exactly when, but there's probably going to be a moment where Izuku or Ida doubt themselves and everything, and they look at their arm or their hand and they remember all that kind of stuff. And then of course there was some comedy in there as well with Todoroki saying, oh my gosh, it's my fault. Every time I get, I cause people to get injuries in their hand. I'm like the hand crusher. And I was cracking up because obviously Todoroki's not joking around. He was actually being serious. But you have Izuku and Ida over there just cracking up laughing. And me too, because honestly, you don't expect to hear that from Todoroki from how we saw him in the previous, the previous arc and everything during the tournament arc. So it's also, it's pretty cool to see this different side of him. We got to see some of that during the fight, and we got to see a little bit more of it in the aftermath, sorry, I hit my mic, in the aftermath, of course, of everything, and kind of see how he is in a more casual sense, casual scene. So it's pretty cool to see that and everything. They almost got in trouble. Obviously, from the chief of the police, who turns out to be straight up, he's just a dog. I was cracking up. I could not take it seriously because of his face. It's literally just a dog. on a human body, a dog head on a human body, and he's just like, even like after a couple when he's talking, he says wolf at the end, and I was just like, oh my gosh, how can anyone take that seriously, honestly, but turns out there is a way for them to not get in trouble, but of course they don't end up getting, and I kind of assumed that was how it was going to be, that they don't get the recognition of course, being the ones who actually took out Stain. It sucks, it's stupid, but yes, rules are rules. If it comes to the point where, like how he said, Todoroki was like, what are you talking about, we're just supposed to let him die, and yeah, I totally agree with him, but I also agree with the dog guy, considering the fact that, yeah, it makes it seems like, oh, if everything ends up being okay, then it's okay to break the rules. It's really hard to really differentiate between the two and everything. So it was cool to see that scene. Could definitely see Todoroki getting super pissed off. I thought there was gonna be like a fight or something going on, but he ends up, the dog guy's pretty nice, pretty cool. He's like, I don't want to get you guys in trouble and everything, so it's your guys' choice. And in the end, obviously they apologized, and pretty much they don't get the recognition, but of course, they did it to save someone. They did it to save each other pretty much in the end. So overall, all good, I guess, for the good guys, right? Nothing bad happened in this episode, right? Nope, that is not what happened at the very end, as you saw. Yeah, it turns out that this whole plan that the League of Villains had and everything for Stain was never to, have him join in their group and everything. It was pretty much, they had this all planned out and knew that he was going to get captured and taken over, not taken over, but, obviously put in jail. And now, because of his ideology and everything, and because they got that on film, his whole crazy scene, which in the last episode, I was totally like, holy shit. That literally scared all of them. Gran Torino and Endeavor were freaking scared of him and everything, But because of all that, because of what he thought, obviously that is a big problem, because everyone thinks he's with the League of Villains, and now all these villains, all these, of course the lower villains as well, with the stronger ones, as we saw like a bunch of them, like they're supposed to be like super badass, including the guy with the that was smoking that one scene. And I'm guessing all of the, big hotshot, evil villains that have been hiding for a while because of All Might are now coming out. And that means what I'm super excited for is we're going to get some crazy ass shit probably in the future, the future episodes and everything, between some crazy villains and everything. We've already seen Stain. He's pretty badass. We've seen a couple other villains as well, but I just honestly, it's always cool to see, hero versus hero and everything. That's why the arc, tournament arc was pretty cool, but it's even cooler when you have a hero versus villain, considering the fact that the villains, they don't stand by the same rules set and everything. They're not going to be kind of respectful and stuff like that. So I can't wait to see how each of these villains have their different ideologies, their different, ways they think, just like how Stain, in a way, you can't really, he's kind of in the middle. It was hard to say. He had some good points. It made sense. It was more of the execution of how he was doing all of them that made him a bad guy. So it'd be interesting to see how the rest of these guys, kind of group up and show what they think, and how this League of Villains, because, they all have their different things. Usually with villains, it's kind of hard to, have them grouped together under one banner, considering the fact that, unlike with, heroes and everything, they kind of have the same way of thinking. Sure, some of it is different, like Endeavor and All Might, but pretty much they want the same thing. For villains, that's a little different, because some just want to destroy the world, some want money, some want to kill people. They all have their different things that they think of and their different methods of doing it, which is why when villains kind of group together, it kind of, doesn't always work out, considering the fact that they start arguing each other because they, who's going to be leader, whose plan is going to be in motion. And that's why I can't wait to see how this is actually going to work. And if we're going to see more of All Might fighting and everything, considering the fact that when him and Gran Torino were talking, we got a little bit more info on, of course, the previous holder of what's it called, One for All. And there was, of course, the talk of All for One. I'm not too sure what All for One is, but I'm guessing it's a bad thing. One for All is kind of like, one person for everyone. That's why it's a good kind of thing. While All for One, I'm guessing it's like all the power for one person, which is probably the person that is, of course, in charge of the League of Villains. So I can't wait to see and learn more of that, because it's always interesting whenever they start to, talk about that. As you saw that All Might, the person who is in charge of the League of Villains, is the person who killed the person who had One for All before, his teacher and everything. And I guess that guy had a really big, injury, but now he's back. And at all, you saw All Might. He was like, he cannot believe you already saw in the last episodes before that he could barely restrain himself. He went full blown, muscular All Might power going on, because he could not just like stand by, even though obviously he's not fighting him and everything. But it should be interesting. Like along the way, it's probably going to have him fighting him. And then, he's not going to be able to full on, use his powers, of course, as, we already know. So it's probably going to be Izuku who's going to have to stand up and fight, while I'm not too sure when that's going to happen. It probably happens like super long from now. But I'm definitely excited to see how the next episodes will go, considering the fact that, like I said, this is the aftermath of the Stain battle. The hero side, everything looks to be good for now. But as you saw, the villains are grouping together, so things are going to get pretty damn crazy and pretty damn dark, probably pretty damn fast. So yeah, that's all I gotta say for this episode, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and have a little cut over here, and we'll get on to the episode 19 portion of the review. So in 3, 2, 1, and here we are at the episode 19 portion of the review. I'm gonna say this one is not gonna be as long as the others, that's for sure, because honestly, it was enjoyable, but it did feel, I'm not going to necessarily say it was a filler episode, as it still did give a focus and development on one of the main characters. That's the problem with Boku no Hero. Obviously, it's got a huge cast, so it's always going to be, you can't really say that, oh, it's just focusing on a side character, as pretty much all of them are main characters. It's just that there are, main characters, which of course are like, Izuku, Ida, them, and Ochako, Bakugo, Todoroki. Those are like the main ones, I would say. But everyone is actually kind of a main character, that it's understandable that they would have like a focus and development for a certain character. Like Froppy, I'm not saying I don't like her character, because I actually really do like her character. I know for a fact that there are a lot of people that like her character as well. So it's not like I didn't enjoy the episode. It wasn't anything progressive for the story, which is why it was kind of like, oh, okay, it's enjoyable. But after seeing, everything that happened in these last couple episodes, and I'm not saying it needs to be action, I always hate when people say that, and there was some action in this, it's not like there wasn't for that either. It's just that I felt that after everything that happened in the last one, all the build up, everything talking about like the League of Villains, the whole thing with One for All, All for One, like I thought there would have been showing more of that, if anything, Instead, they kind of went back to the whole internship thing, which is, yes, that is a main focus for this arc. It's just, in my opinion, I thought it would have been cooler for this to go and be shown like maybe before the whole thing with Izuku and, the hero killer Stain, all that kind of stuff. Maybe that happens after this instead, because honestly, this whole part over here, it didn't necessarily have to happen, in my opinion at least, right here. Sure, at the beginning of the episode, they do have the whole talks with, obviously, Izuku talking about what happened to Ida, what happened to Todoroki, what's going to happen to him and everything. But I feel that could have been done, separately from this whole Froppy episode. Sure, it was still enjoyable. Like I keep saying, I don't want you guys to think that I thought this was a, crappy episode. I still did, definitely did enjoy it. There were funny moments. There were cool moments. They showed like, how it was before and everything with segments of everyone's internship. It showed Bakugo getting irritated by some kids. That was pretty damn funny. Showed Ochako learning some martial arts, Jito doing some like hostage rescue, Kirishima having to do that's not stupid obviously, but having to do community service, when you think like he's like their characters, him and that other guy, I forget what his name, along with their mentor and everything, fourth kind, they're like these huge guys. You'd expect them to be doing, I don't know, heavy lifting of sorts, so it's pretty funny to see those kind of scenes. I definitely did enjoy that, and overall, it was interesting to see them have a huge focus on Froppy, to which I'm not saying I didn't like it. It was definitely pretty cool to see her pretty much learning what she wants to be as a hero, as well as it developed her character a lot in this episode. And I gotta say, in the last episode, I said I was kind of distracted by the whole thing with the police guy being pretty much just like a dog on a human body. This time we had a muscular Seal. Yeah, he's like full on. His power is he can do anything a seal can do. It's kind of like Froppy's power, but instead of, Froppy, she still has human qualities. This guy's like a full blown seal. Like, sure, he has like the human body structure and everything, but he's pretty much his head and everything, his like color, his skin and everything. He's a dang seal, and I was just cracking up, especially when he starts to try and act all cute and everything. He's all like, oh, hey, acting cute, and everyone, his crew and everything, his sidekick, they're like, that's not cute. And then, of course, I guess Froppy still thinks it's cute. She's like, oh, how kawaii, but overall, it was just funny to see, like, this huge thick guy act, try to, like, oh, hey there, like, acting all cute. It's like, no, that doesn't really work. And he's like, oh, but the kids think it's funny. Yeah, they're teasing you. They're making fun of you, actually, but overall it was pretty cool to see. It wasn't like some crazy ass action. Instead, I actually thought it was like, when the octopus guy came out, I was like, okay, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going, but of course it didn't go that way. Instead, we got the seal beating up, and a cool just overall, showing of Froppy in action and having her, figure her way out what she wants to be a hero, because that's pretty much all, what this internship has been. Ida's starting to figure that out. Izuku is figuring that out for himself. Todoroki, everyone is figuring out what they want to be as a hero, and that's what they did for this episode for Froppy. And I'm pretty sure that that probably means that later on in the, couple episodes in the future and everything, there's probably going to be a showing of a villain, and there's probably going to be Froppy having to go up against him. I just have a feeling like if you have such a huge focus on one of the characters over the other ones, that they're probably going to have, a huge showing of them going up against someone. They already did that with Ida, Todoroki, and Izuku going against Stain. So I have a feeling that they'll probably grab someone else, one of the other heroes, probably Froppy, and have them go against one of these, probably big sea villain creatures kind of guys or something like that, like maybe like a shark or something. I don't know, maybe that's too cliche, but who the heck knows, honestly. But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about this episode. Overall, like I said, it wasn't going to be a hard episode to review, considering it was not a, like I said, I'm not going to say a filler episode, but it didn't really progress the story much in any way besides development for Froppy's character, which was still awesome and cool to see, but like I said, nothing dramatic or story changing, obviously. But yeah, that's all I really gotta say for this episode, guys. We're gonna have a little cut over here, and we'll get on to the episode 20 portion of the review. So in 3, 2, 1, and here we are at the episode 20 portion of the review. I gotta say, this episode is probably the episode I expected to happen after episode 18, considering, like I said, at the end of episode 18, I was super hyped to learn more about the League of Villains, maybe see, a glimpse of some more of the, who's going to be pretty much the top dogs in the League of Villains. And then, of course, some talk of, what's pretty much been building up for quite a while in these past few episodes, which is more about All for One. This is the episode we finally get that. The first half, it obviously was much more lighthearted. It was definitely enjoyable and pretty funny to see how everyone was reacting to all the events that were happening. That one part, I gotta say, when Todoroki, Izuku and Ida were kind of like, everyone was like, oh yeah, so Endeavor saved you and everything. Man, that must have been so hard for Todoroki to go and say that. And I would have been like, over there, be like, oh my gosh, yeah, we got saved. But when, obviously I'd be pissed because I want to tell everyone, no, man, we beat him. We destroyed him, of course. Of course, obviously, like, Gran Torino had said, he wasn't, fully trying, obviously, against them and everything. And that's why they were able to kind of catch him off guard and beat him there and then. Even in the end, he still had energy, and it wasn't for the fact that he literally, his organs were messed up. He probably still would have, his organs were messed up, and he was still actually scaring the rest of them. So just imagine if they didn't manage to damage some of his organs and he didn't just pass out on his feet right there. He probably would have messed them up. That's what I'm thinking, even with Endeavor and Gran Torino there. It was also pretty funny to figure out that, Gran Torino, the reason why he's kind of an unknown and no one really knows about him, even though he's obviously pretty damn badass, and he was obviously friends with the person who had, One for All before, and obviously trained All Might. So he's got to be badass. A lot of people should know him, but of course, it ends up being the fact that the only reason he got his license, his hero license, was because he wanted to just go ahead and use his powers freely, which does make sense in a way. But it's pretty funny when we've seen how badass he is, and like it could have been like how he could have been like one of the best heroes, around back in his time and everything. But instead, he just wants to go around. I guess for a time, he also wanted to be a teacher because obviously he did work there for a while. So I'm not too sure why he ended up joining. If that's, he just wanted to have his powers but it may be because obviously the whole thing with having to teach All Might, probably easier to do it if he was a teacher at that school. So that's probably the reasons behind that. But the rest of the episode was, like I said, just them pretty much everyone back in class and everything, talking about, what happened in their own adventures, how a lot of them have changed, and how their missions had gone and everything. There was also this, locker room scene with Mineta pretty much being the same pervert stuff in both times, in the locker room scene and at the very end when he, like, everyone's like, hey, we're going to have a camp in the woods and everything. And he's like, hot springs. Oh. Like every single thing that he can think of that would have the girls changing or naked pretty much. And I was just literally cracking up because, yeah, that would be what he would think of, honestly. And there was a little fan service in there when in the locker room scene, you got to see a little bit of them kind of partially change. So if you wanted some fan service of them, I mean, there was a little bit. You can't get too mad at not having that. But like I said, this is not the anime that I usually watch to have fan service anyway, So overall, like the beginning first half was mostly not really anything story, like I said in the last episode review for episode 19, nothing really was, nothing progressed the story at all. And the first half, it wasn't really that much for the story either. It was more like, just kind of showing all of them finally back together and kind of having that chemistry and seeing how everyone has changed in a way, and has not changed like Mineta. But of course, the second half is where we finally get into the real stuff, the part that I was waiting for in the last episode, which is of course All Might talking about the origins of All for One, and of course One for All. And it's pretty damn crazy. I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect it to be that. The whole reason One for All was created was because of All for One, because of the older brother giving his younger, weaker brother his powers, and of course, actually having a quirk, his younger brother actually having a quirk, which is, of course, we find out was to transfer his powers and everything, and that's why over time his powers got stronger and stronger and stronger until it came to All Might, which of course he was finally able to go ahead and take out the One for All guy. I don't remember if they said his name, but damn, that's an unbelievably powerful damn quirk. Being able to use everyone's power. And yeah, right when he said that he should have been dead because I guess, All Might had landed a fatal blow on him and everything, I knew for a fact when it comes to the fact that he can get any power he wants, it was bound to be that he would find somewhere in the world that there was a quirk that would allow him like some super regenerative abilities. And like All Might said and everything, that may factor in the whole maybe someone has an ability to never age as well, so you add that never aging so he doesn't die of old age along with his super regenerative ability. It allows him to regenerate and become back to normal and everything. He's bound to, it's a pretty damn OP ability. All for One and everything. One for All, sorry, I came mixed up again. One for All is a pretty strong ability and everything, that how he could, transfer his ability over and over and over again. But All for One, the whole thing on the fact that he can get everyone's power, he should be undefeated. He should be unbeatable. It's kind of actually really confuses me on how All Might was able to defeat him. Because yes, All Might is super strong. I'm not gonna, fight that and everything. But this guy who's able to have every single power in the world should be able to counter someone like All Might, who seems to, of course, his power is pretty much just super strength. Usually it combines with someone if they have that quirk, a different quirk and everything, but All Might is just like Izuku, and he did not have a quirk before. So it really confuses me on someone like, yes, All Might is definitely super strong and everything. He's the best, the number one hero in the world for a reason, but it really gets me thinking, like, how was he able to defeat someone with, like, literally, it could be possible that he had over 1 billion, abilities. considering the fact of how many people there are on the planet. He literally could have like every single quirk imaginable, you know, every useful one at least, you know. So it really gets me thinking, like, is it like, how was it possible that he was defeated? Maybe it was like he was being cocky and he didn't expect All Might to be able to do this and everything. But in the end, it looked like All Might wasn't able to fully take him out. And of course, this guy's just super OP and he's still alive. There's also the whole thing with him having plans with Shigaraki. Shigaraki is supposed to be like the new him. I'm not too sure on how that works. Like, is he trying to take over Shigaraki's body later on? Is he actually, you know, even though he is healing, he's still gonna die sooner or later or something, and he's planning to have Shigaraki take over for him? Because as someone like him who has every single ability practically, I would not think that he would want to give up his power to someone else. So it's definitely interesting to see like why he places so much trust on, you know, Shigaraki. And obviously everything we've seen so far from these past 2 seasons has been to develop him more and get him stronger and stronger and better as a villain and everything, as we have seen so far. So it definitely is interesting to see like what the hell's up with Shigaraki. He's obviously was sent as well to defeat All Might, but was that the only reason? Is there something else even, you know, more sinister or darker that along the way it's going to get pretty damn crazy? Honestly, who knows at this point, but it's got to me super excited to learn more about the villains, because that's the true enemy, obviously, you know. It's always interesting to learn about, of course, you know, more about All Might, and you did see in this episode that there was something that he wanted to say, which of course you could pretty much, from how he talked about it, you pretty much assume that what he said was he's not going to be there for him when that time happens, as Izuku said that as long as he has All Might with him, he could do anything. Well, of course, that problem is that it probably, for something, when you transfer the power, you probably end up dying or something like that, which is, of course, why All Might is probably, like he said, he's not going to be there when that happens, because he's either probably going to die from losing his power, or he's planning to maybe sacrifice himself somewhere along the way against Shigaraki or against, of course, this, you know, the all-for-one person and everything. Or, you know, it would make sense, that whole thing, if you give up your power, then you slowly die kind of thing. Because, for example, his master and everything is also dead as well. But I think actually his master was dead because of the all-for-one guy. So I'm not too sure. That wouldn't actually work out. Sorry. I was kind of thinking that, but then I was like, oh, wait, no, she died from another way. So that's not possible for that to work like that, you know? So it's a possibility that it could still work like that, and I just didn't think it correctly. But I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere along the way that he's going to probably sacrifice himself, or of course it is just that he is, you know, very wounded, and now that he loses his power, he cannot, you know, survive with that wound that he had before and everything. But yeah, overall, definitely a lot better episode. I definitely enjoyed it. The whole origins of, you know, One for All and All for One was probably like just probably my favorite part of these past 3 episodes. Sure, the, you know, first episode, you know, episode 18 was still pretty damn cool. It was all about the aftermath. There was some interesting things going on here and there as well with the villains. But this is the thing that I've been waiting for to learn about for quite a while. So hopefully we continue to learn more about this All for One, and maybe more about One for All. And it's probably going to get really like a lot more drama coming in, as I don't know when it's going to happen, but sooner or later All Might is going to die, which is going to be a huge thing for Izuku's character, huge development for his character. But yeah, overall, as you saw at the end of the episode, it looks like we're going to a more, you know, light-hearted kind of look upon things. Like these past few episodes, this arc and everything has been a lot more darker, I gotta say, and that's pretty damn good. I did enjoy that, but it looks like we're kind of going back to the school kind of thing and everything, with obviously you saw that they had their final exams, and after those final exams they're going to be going on a camping trip and everything. I'm super excited for the final exams, as it showed that they're going to be teaming up, groups of 2, going up against, and they're going to have to defeat one of the heroes already. So I'm definitely excited to see how those episodes will be. But yeah, that's all I gotta say for this one, you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If there's anything I missed and you want to talk about, comment below as well. And if you did enjoy this, feel like, if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe for more content. And as always, guys, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. How did you feel about these episodes? Episode 18, 19, 20, whatever you guys want to talk about, feel free to comment below. And yeah, that's all I gotta say, guys. So till next time, see ya.